Okay. So the first word we're going to look at is confront. Confront. What do you think confront means? What do you see in the boy drawing on a chalkboard? Okay. Let me read you the sentence. It says, oh, that's the wrong one. When you oh wait, that's the definition. It says, it took courage for Lucas to confront his fears of working in front of the class. Confront. What do you think confront means?
Do something you're afraid of?
Okay, do something you're afraid of. To confront something is to do it head on. Is to put your fears aside. You deal with the problem. You confront a problem means you deal with that problem. Confront. Next we have dauntless. Dauntless.
He's like going fire. There's a fire. I think there's a person walking into fire in a second.
Okay, there's a person walking into the fire. It's a firefighter, obviously.
Yeah.
Walking into a fire. What do you think dauntless means?
Brave.
Maybe brave.
Fearless. Cool.
Says the dauntless firefighter ran into the burning house to save the family. Someone who is dauntless has no fears. Has no fears. If you've ever seen gosh, what's it called? No, I'm gonna get it out. No, just give me a minute. Give me a minute. I know what I'm thinking of. I can visualize it right here.
Running from the cops.
Shh. No, let me think it through. Let me think it through in my head and I'll tell you. Have you ever seen, hold on, I'm trying to think of,
It's a great movie.
shush. Y'all are not very nice today. Just want to let y'all know you're not being very nice.
Butterfly.
Hold on. Okay, have you ever seen the movie Divergent?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Divergent is a movie where they have different factions, and there is a dauntless faction. Those are kind of the brave. They're the I'm gonna do what I want kind of people. Like they jump off buildings, they run and jump onto trains. They have no fear. That's why they're called dauntless.
Like me.
They're dauntless because they have no fear. Now there's other ones that are called erudite. There is
Number 4, Allegiant, and then I forgot the second one.
yeah. It's a book. It's a book series and a movie.
I seen.
So dauntless means no fear.
I read all of the books.
Wonderful. All right, next word, endurance. Endurance. What does endurance mean?
Running a race and winning.
All right, let me read you the sentence. There's too much extra talking. Raise your hand. Running marathons requires endurance and strength. Endurance. Chris, what do you think it means?
Having strength.
Huh?
Having strength.
Maybe having strength. Endurance. Charles, what do you think it means?
Have a lot of stamina, maybe.
Maybe stamina. Endurance means that you can do something for a long period of time. If you have mental endurance, that means you can, or, what is it called? My brain is just not with me today. Or like you say, we're going to have Our stamina, shh, stop talking. Our stamina for reading, how long we can read for, that's our endurance. Next word, dedication. Dedication. Chris.
Helping.
Helping. Okay. Gabby.
Like you're determined to do something, like you're willing to do it.
You're determined to do something. If someone has dedication for something, that person has shown commitment to it. Dedication. Next word. Auction. Auction. Charles.
You're selling something.
Selling something.
Yeah, and the prices keep going up and up.
The prices keep going up. An auction is an event where items are sold to a person who offers the most money. An auction. Next word, drifting.
Oh.
Drifting.
Something's floating away.
Something may be floating away. If something is drifting, it's moving very slowly without much direction. Drifting.
I drift away at my bed at night.
All right, next word, damp. Damp.
Oh, I thought you were.
Gabby.
Damp means it's like a little bit wet, but not too.
A little bit wet, not fully soaked, but just a little wet. It feels a little wet. If I said something soaked, then it's going to be a lot of wet. But if it's just damp, then that means it's just a little bit wet.
Like when you get out of the pool.
Right. Okay, next word, spare. Spare.
Oh. Oops.
Charles.
You have like a spare pencil or fewer.
Keep going. Okay. Spare something is someone you can spare is something you can spare is something extra that you have that you don't really need. A spare.
I can spare my brother.
Next word. Everybody needs to sit their head up, please. We're not falling asleep today. Next word. Verses. Gabby.
Verses is like lyrics to a song, like the lyrics.
Lyrics to a song. It is the verses of a song are the different sections that usually change throughout the song. Verses. Next word, chorus. Chorus. Chris.
People that are singing in front of crowds.
Okay, it's a group, a chorus. The chorus of a song is a part that is repeated after each verse. So it's not talking about the actual group of people singing together. It's an actual part of a song that is repeated. Next word, brimming. Brimming. Charles.
Something that may be like really sugary and hot.
Okay, maybe sugary and hot. Come on, sit up. Amari, wake up. Alex. Brimming means if something is brimming, it's full, about to overflow. Like if I say I filled it to the brim, I filled it all the way up to the very top. Okay. 1 second, please. Hi. Okay. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
That's 10 seconds. That's not long. Yeah, still.
Thank you for sitting quietly. Okay, we're going to finish our green and white book that we read yesterday. So you need to get your green and white book out. Page 159. I know, because we'll start using it this week. Just because the topic we were learning about, the area and perimeter, they don't have the irregular shapes in the math book, so I had to find my own stuff to do.
Well, are we going to learn about, are we going to do science today?
I'm not sure, only because apparently that's for the third 9 weeks. But I like to talk about it when I talk about rocks and stuff, so I don't know, maybe we'll continue talking about that, maybe not, don't know.
Will we answer the questions?
Not yet, not yet. All right, we're gonna reread one more time. I'm gonna read it to you. You need to be following along before we go back into the questions and answer the questions. Let me... So, please follow along. It says Antarctica is the 5th largest of 7 continents on Earth. Antarctica is located entirely within the Arctic Circle and surrounds the South Pole. It is as large as the United States and Mexico combined. This continent is surrounded by water and more than doubles its size in winter. Since most of its land is about 2,800 meters above sea level, Antarctica has the highest average elevation of all continents. In some places, the ice measures more than 4,000 meters. Icebergs. Pieces of ice as large as small islands are found around Antarctica. These icebergs are huge ice chunks that float in the water. Only the tips of the icebergs can be seen above the water. Over 3/4 of an iceberg's mass is found below the water. Geographic information. Antarctica is the coldest of all continents and contains about 90% of the ice in the world. This continent has 6 months of daylight and 6 months of darkness because Earth revolves around the sun and is tilted on its axis. Antarctica's coldest temperature occurs at the end of August, because the sun only shines a few hours during each day. Antarctica is tilted towards the sun during the other half of the year. Alex, please stop talking. Neither trees nor bushes grow in Antarctica because of the frigid temperatures. The average temperature at the South Pole is 57 degrees below zero, or negative 57 degrees Fahrenheit. There are some places in Antarctica that are as cold as negative 126 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. The average summer temperature in Antarctica rarely rises above 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Have a good day. Most precipitations on this continent fall as snow. Strong winds prevent measurement of the snow and often cause blizzards. There's more blowing winds preventing measurements of snow often cause blizzards. There's more blowing snow than snow falling from the sky. Blizzards result in whiteout condition, making it almost impossible and quite dangerous to explore this continent. While Antarctica does not have long-term residents, Tourists do visit the continent. It is so cold that people might freeze to death if they remain outside for a lengthy period. Most of the visitors to Antarctica are scientists who study the climate. They have special... What? You can read too. I don't know where I was at. They have special clothes that allows them to work outside in the icy weather. Without these special clothes, they could not survive the cold. Animals. Not all animals can live in the freezing water of the ocean surrounding Antarctica. Some of the animals living in Antarctica are penguins, whales, and seals. These animals eat food from the sea and survive the cold waters because they have layers of blubber to protect them. Antarctica is unique. It is the coldest, windiest, and most elevated of all continents. Scientists continue to study Antarctica as this icy region provides a natural laboratory for research that cannot be completed at any other location on Earth. All right, so this is where you're going to answer the questions. You need to go back in and find the answer in the text and underline it for text evidence. Jayana, sit up. Amari, sit up. Alex. So, I'm going to give you about 26 minutes. Shouldn't even take you that long to answer these questions. Amari, if you need to stand up, bud. Kamani, stand up if you need to. Jayana, stand up if you need to. Everybody should be answering these 9 questions. They are not coming today, period. Amari, stand up and get your green and white book out. Okay, number one. Number one. In the sentence from paragraph 2, what does mass mean? Over 3/4 of an iceberg's mass is found below the water. A church service, a musical composition, the amount of matter in an object, the measurement of water on earth. One A, 2B, 3C, 4D. Let me see your hands. The answer is C, the amount of matter in an object. Anytime you think of mass, you think of a weight of something. The answer is C. Which statement does not provide evidence that Antarctica has extreme temperatures? It says which statement does not. It says pieces of ice as large as small islands are found around Antarctica. There's more blowing snow than snow falling from the sky. Without these special clothing, they could not survive the cold. It is the coldest, windiest, and most elevated of all continents. Which statement does not provide evidence that Antarctica has extreme temperatures? 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. The answer is B.
What? The water becomes ice and more.
The answer is B.
Yeah, but it says there's snow.
Yeah, but which one does not provide evidence? So the ice is the large ice as found in around Antarctica. That's extreme temperatures because there's no like land. The land is ice. Without these special clothing, they could not survive the cold. So because of the extreme temperatures, they have to wear special clothing. And it is the coldest, windiest, and elevated of all continents. So the one that doesn't, because we could have blizzards here too.
No, we can't. It's North Carolina. We barely have snow.
I said we could have them. I didn't say we do have them. I said we could. There are places like Colorado that have blizzards too, but they're not. They have extreme temperatures as well, but
Why not? It's snow. I mean, North Dakota's snowing right now.
right.
Yeah, but number 8 doesn't say.
It does, because Antarctica is made of strictly ice. It's just one big block of ice. Well, the answer is B. The answer is B. Says, what can the reader conclude about the facts that Antarctica doubles in size during the winter? The blowing snow increases the land mass. The water surrounding the land becomes ice. The iceberg gradually move and connect to the continent. The location of the continent causes more precipitation during winter. One A, 2B, 3C, 4D. Number 3. The answer is B. The water surrounding the land becomes ice because when it becomes super cold, water turns to ice. That would make the land mass bigger. It says, what is the best summary of this passage? A, Antarctica is the 5th largest continent. The Titanic sank because of one of its icebergs. It contains 90% of the world's ice. Not all animals can survive in the cold region. Antarctica. B, Antarctica is located in the Arctic Circle. This continent is icy and cold and windy. Only penguins, whales, and seals live in the water around the continent. Scientists study this region. C, Antarctica is one of the most unique continents on Earth. It's covered with ice and its frigid waters contain icebergs. Because it's most often tilted away from the sun, the climate is extremely cold. Survival on this continent is difficult. And then D, Antarctica is a natural laboratory for research that cannot be completed at any other location on Earth. Scientists go to the continent to study the climate. They must wear special clothing that cannot stay for long periods of time. So which one can we say we automatically know it is not it? A. We know A. So now we have B, C, and D. All right, so we have 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D.
What is B?
4. D is 4.
No, what is B?
2. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. The answer is C.
But it doesn't explain the scientists.
Yes, but the whole thing is not strictly about the scientists.
Yeah. And it just
It mentions it in there,
it's the only paragraph that's good.
but
It only says scientists study this region. And then here
right, but the summary doesn't have to have every single piece of what's in the story.
Oh.
Right. The reason it is not B is they want you to understand the main topic of why the author wrote this, and the author wrote it to inform us about Antarctica, not specifically about, they want us to know what's unique about Antarctica, not just things that are in Antarctica. Okay, so the answer is C. Number 5. Antarctica is a continent in the southern hemisphere. This continent experiences only 2 seasons. Which statement explains why Antarctica only experiences 2 seasons? A, Antarctica has 2 seasons because the Earth is tilted on its axis, causing the day and the night cycle. B, Antarctica has 2 seasons because Earth is furthest away from the sun in winter and closer to the sun in summer. C, Antarctica has 2 seasons because the climate is extremely cold, causing an increased snowfall that doubles the size of the continent during the winter. Or D, Antarctica has 2 seasons because it's located at the bottom of the Earth, causing it to lean towards the sun for 6 months and away from the sun for 6 months. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. The answer is D, because it tilts away from the sun for 6 months and it tilts towards the sun for the other 6 months. Number 6, based on the photograph of supplies and the paragraph about survival in Antarctica, what can the reader infer? Supplies are delivered by land, water, and air transportation methods. Land delivery is an effective means of providing resources to residents. An airdrop is the most efficient method used to deliver resources. Supplies must be left on the ice to preserve the contents. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D.
I'm going back and forth between A and B.
So we know that it is not a livable continent. Now people can go up there for short periods of time, but the only way to get there is to get there by plane. Now, what we can infer, it means what we can guess would happen, is that all of the supplies have to be airdropped into the resources. No, an airdrop is the most efficient method used to deliver resources. So the answer is C. Number 7. What is the meaning of the word residence as used in paragraph 5? So let's go back to paragraph 5. It says, while Antarctica does not have long-term residents, tourists do visit the continent. Okay, residents, what does it mean? People who study a place, people who tour a location, people who live in a location, people who enjoy a harsh climate. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. The answer is C. If you're a resident of a location, that means you live in that location. If I'm a resident of Goldsboro, that means I live in Goldsboro permanently.
But I thought it said no one could live in the
Right, but it says there's no long-term residents, so that means people that live there permanently. Yeah. Number 8. Since Antarctica is tilted away from the sun during the winter, what happens to the continent? It is cold and dark, it is icy and bright, it is dark and calm, it is windy and unstable. One A, 2B, 3C, 4D. Number 8.
What was 7?
C.
Oh.
Number 8.
Oh, number 8.
Yep. If we go back to where it says it's tilted away, it says this end of August, the sun only shines a few hours each day. So, what happens to the continent when it's tilted away? It is cold and dark.
Yes.
And then number 9, what text feature helps a reader to locate key details about Antarctica? The captions, the headings, the title of the text, the paragraphs. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. The answer is B, the headings. It says what text feature? Text features are like italicized words, bold words, headings, subheadings. So that is what's going to help you to know about the key details, the headings.
So if like this one, you'd understand, the key detail might be about climate, it might be about survival, animals.
Right. Okay, you're going to need a piece of paper out. I am going to write down the vocabulary words on this piece of paper so you can write your vocabulary definitions. Now, I'm going to start calling some of you to go to the back of the room and put in your answers to that yellow paper that we did last week on the computer because I need it for this afternoon. Okay? So while everybody else is working, and then whatever you don't finish of the definitions, it will be homework. I will be checking it. I spelled dauntless wrong already.
Are we reading our reading book?
If you're on the computer and you haven't gone on and put that yellow paper in the school note, I need you to do that right now. I think tram's the only one that has not. I'll have to look at my list. Auction.
The box. Like,
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, all the things that totally
All right, here are the words. Writing definitions.